posting for a while. Again, you gave me this, but is there procedures as what you find acceptable and what's not? Because again, if you're asking me, what I find acceptable to post on these sites may not be acceptable to you, because as I said, you have that. On the DDA's website and Facebook page, there's been postings of businesses. One was Forty's advertising for them for help wanted. Now again, the DDA is for development of business, I understand that. But you're also in the city. That is outside of the city. This business was in the city. And again, we're all splitting hairs. I'm just trying to understand. You know, we also have a Chamber of Commerce page. That's their right. They're to help express business interest. You're asking me as one individual to decide what is right or wrong here. I wasn't here when that, well, I can't say that. I was here when that page was created, but I don't know who's the administrator. I don't know anything about that page. All I know is I did tell Sergeant Spencer, as you see, to stop posting, to close it down. So yes, that is on me, because that was the word I used to him. Now, as far as the changing and all this, contact Facebook, I don't know.
Then why did you request a moratorium on the site until, and
Because
that on the
then I don't
DDA?
have the time to,
Until you could gain control of the passwords.
right, and I haven't had that yet. From either, or any of them, from the DDA, from the website, anything. I
We've
have
also
no.
discussed at a couple council meetings the possibility of an actual City of Pinconning website, which would have a moderator and administrator, which wouldn't be you. We had discussed hiring a company outside to run this professional website, not a Facebook page or a Facebook group, but a website. What happened with that? We haven't heard any more.
Again, as I get time, I have to do prioritizing.
Okay.
Do I have the right to decline these? Because I did not ask to be the coordinator of these.
It was already in the city
policies.
charter. Already in the city charter.
I don't believe social media was.
No, just the coordinators and the director of all that.
And the attorney, when
Yes.
he was here, said those positions did not need to be filled.
But it was already in your job description.
No.
Either way, I mean, it's, I'm
Those
just going back to the
positions were not, I
moratorium.
oversee them, but those positions were not in my job description.
Well, he recommended action.
I don't believe
That
he
that was in
did.
the legal opinion. He recommended what we acted on.
Mhm.
That's a fact. That was in the legal
Okay.
opinion. But I understand, you know, what your conversation, and I take it, but still, you know, you've been pounding into us quite a bit between you and Yvonne that we can't get involved with staff. That's why we're in a management form of government. The city of Pinconning is. You're the city manager, you report to us, and policies come up the chain and down the chain with your recommendation to the city manager to do this type of stuff.
Yes, I do oversee the employees.
So when we make a policy, we expect that to be carried out. If it's a new policy, if you didn't read it, well, then you're at fault. But it was pretty clear and spelled out why that shouldn't have happened. So. You know, point being, I will do all I can to get back control of that site from what it is. Once again, anybody out there, you can start your own site, but you're not carrying on the content of a city-owned site and transferring it under a different name to that site. That's piracy and fraud. And Facebook has a pretty good policy against that one, once it's proved that that happened. And we do have the proof, you know, so.
That's fine.
Is that it? Or can we move on?
Yeah, I still, there needs to be ramifications about this too, you know. We could, with your staff, if, once again, you gave that consent without the authority to do it, then that fault relies on your shoulders, not the city manager's shoulders, not Officer Spencer. If you gave him that direction, that's well within your
I
authority.
gave him the direction not to post, and I did word it as closed down, so that is on me. I did not say moratorium.
Okay. That's information I desire anyway, and hopefully the council takes that
As to
into.
anything else,
No.
I just said there was to be no more posting, and I did use the word closed down,
Okay,
so that is on me.
so we, I guess we'll work together to gain control of that back. I'll assist you on it. I have no problem doing that, 'cause it needs to come back to the city. And if we decide to close it down, then we close it down, but that needs to come back and that clarification needs to happen. So that's all I have.
Will there be guidelines on, if I'm to continue, is there going to be guidelines on what council finds acceptable and what's not? Because like I said, we already had a difference on what we found acceptable.
Well, if you want to create a committee, same as what we do on the DDA side, have a posting committee that it all gets reviewed, and we all vote yes or whatever, that may help you out. And it works well on the DDA side. So, another part of that, if you need assistance with that, Sam is actually operating the city site at this point, which the city utilizes. She is great at doing this stuff, and we can utilize her services, as we're already paying for it. So if you want her to be a clearinghouse to create stuff, and then pass it by a committee of us, that's the easiest way to do it, and it works well on the DDA side. That's all I have, Sharon. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, Captain Spencer's promotion, Councilman Gibson.
Ooh. I'm just gonna say it. Council did not approve Sergeant Spencer at the time to be promoted to a captain. Council had no input on it, no say on it. Who did that?
As was stated at the last meeting, you made me superintendent of public safety. I talked with the attorney. I did not have the authority to do the warrants, handling guns, all of that. So I need to name someone. So that became Captain Spencer. You're under the miscommunication that he was appointed. He was not. He was promoted. You are over appointments. I oversee promotions.
Well, number one, you was always the manager over the police department. So, because we said you're the superintendent, to make it by charter that we had a name for superintendent. So nothing changed there. You was already the manager over our police department. And let me just continue. You missed a few steps. I'm sure there's a protocol and procedure to promote somebody in the police force. There's a test to be made and done. And for some reason, how do you go from a sergeant to a captain and overlook the next step, which should have been a lieutenant? How do you do that? Procedure, protocol. You did it on your own, between whoever wanted to do it, without notifying this council and getting approval for this council. Am I correct by saying that?
No, you are not.
Tell me why I'm not.
Because again, I oversee everyone, as you have stated. But when a police chief was here, he oversaw the day-to-day operations. And again, as I said, I talked with the attorney, and it was under his guidance that the promotion was made.
So why not just call the chief back from layoff? Because that was per your request.
There is not money in the budget.
I don't think it has to do anything with the budget. I think the plan was lay off the chief of police, get him out of your hair, because I think he did have control of what was going on in our police department. So all this stuff started happening after we laid off Chief Tober. And again, council didn't approve that. You just did it. All we got was a phone call saying, I'm laying off police chief and 2 DPW workers. Why do we have a council if you're not gonna use it in, let's call it, gray areas that you should not make the decision on your own without approaching the council? A gray area. You don't think that you need to be held responsible for all these? Did you check? Is there policy and procedures for promotion? Did you check? Do they need to take a test for promotion? Did you check the chain of command? Did you check with the police union to see if it could be done?
Yes.
Thank you. So, if I understand correctly, I should have left those 3 employees working and sent the budget over budget, but because I chose to lay them off to maintain the budget, either way I'm wrong. Yep.
But you didn't call everyone back, correct?
I laid 3 people off.
Yes.
One was a seasonal person, which was just until DDA had budget until spring.
Right.
The other one was brought back because we lost an employee. And Chief Tober was the only one that was not recalled. The only reason the other employee was called back was again because we lost an employee. He probably would not have been brought back until spring when work necessitated another person.
Well, as a councilman, I really don't agree and recommend with the promotion because we didn't accept it. So you'll have to do what you have to do to see if he maintains to be a captain or be promoted down to the sergeant he was. Can you do that for the council?
Can you repeat? I'm unclear as to what you're asking.
I want you to check to make sure that there is no policies and procedures to promote one of our policemen to a higher rank.
I think I'll check, but like I said,
Nancy has a question.
Is it in our charter that council approves promotion?
I don't know, is it, you see it?
No, I'm asking.
I don't know where it's at, I can't answer that.
So, the question I guess I have is who's supposed to do the promoting and who's supposed to say, yes, it's okay to promote? Are you saying that council should say, yes, we promote you? Or are you saying that we should, I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm not clear.
I guess I'm saying that if they thought he needed to be promoted to captain, that they would have had the courtesy to run it through council for approval or disapproval.
So do you have the authority to approve or disapprove? I don't.
It is my understanding I have the authority to do promotions.
And council does not.
Correct.
Can you state where? Because I'm sure like everything else, it states subject to approval of council. A lot of things
That is for
state
the
that.
appointment or hiring. The hiring of Sergeant Spencer, at the time, Officer Spencer, was done by a previous board. Once you have appointed or approved the hiring, after that is up to the city manager to oversee the staff.
Still would like you to look in if there's policies and procedures to do that. If it happened, and there is, great, I'm happy. If there's not, well, it is what it is.
Again, I went by the union and our attorney.
I didn't see nothing from the union. Why is that? Like everything else up here, it's confidential, council don't need to know about it. That's pretty much what happens up here. That seems to be the one-sided of everything.
If it's part of a union though, do we have access to that? We are not a part of
No.
the union.
Oh, you don't have access to their files
have-
or anything?
Access to the
Access to request that information.
their contract.
Sure.
So have we requested that information prior to today?
About what?
Promotion protocol? Is that what you're asking?
I'm just asking today.
Well, the answer is no.
That's what I'm hearing. I mean, we can discuss it all night long, but
Well, I got dinner date.
Someone was that director.
I understand. But the people in the audience need to understand there's two sides to the story. And this side, we're not getting what's happening on that side. That's what you just don't
So
understand.
Dawn, can you get us that information?
I will call the union.
Thank you.
I just
Please.
verbally talked to the gentleman.
Thank you, Don.
And also statement from our attorney that he rendered that opinion for you too. That would be
I
helpful.
think we have that.
You had that in the letter.
It didn't say he could be promoted, if I remember, to a captain.
I will research the letter again and give it to you.
Do that, please. That's all I have for the promotion.
Okay, moving on, State of Michigan Department of Treasurer to perform a financial review. Councilman Saha.
Well, once again, we go back to when Dave gave the presentation. I just want everybody's feedback here on which way to go with this decision. Contracting with the state Department of Treasury to do a financial review and audit will cost the city about $26,000 plus or minus. Keeping with our same firm to do the same job is about $5,000 to $6,000 depending on the hours and how much they have to clean up the books to get to the audit point. We're also under a deadline of, the audit has to be done by end of the year, 31st, and Generally, the audit has already started by our usual contractor for it. So we're behind the 8 ball as far as timing
And finances.
in finances. But the only point I wanted to make too is, when I was asking Dave that question, if the state comes in and does a financial review, are there more reporting that goes along with that, where the state would dictate to the city to do things in a different way or a more proper way, actually dictate it instead of make recommendations? And generally, the recommendations we get all the time, at least since I've been on council, those recommendations haven't been followed. On the reporting side of it, and separation of positions, in doing the proper accounting procedures to get to a point where you can perform an audit and give us accurate reports on a monthly basis. These reports right here, and I'll just ask a general question to Don. You know, financial reports we get, are they reconciled to the bank account on a monthly basis?
I have been having Amy do that, most are, yes,
Okay. And that's a positive yes?
yes.
Okay. So if they're not reconciled to the bank account, that means your cash dictates everything. So if you say what cash is in the bank and it doesn't correspond to what's in here, these reports are meaningless. And I had that discussion with our auditor, and that's been the problem over the past several years, is the reconciliations of the bank statements are done on not a periodic basis, where they should be done monthly, and they may be caught up on a 3-month basis or 6-month basis, and then at the end of the year, to prepare the books for audit. So it's not a good accounting procedure. So those are the areas where the state may have a different insight on how things should be done versus our auditor. But the auditor has been making these points. But my secondary question was, if the state comes through and does their financial review, that their findings are automatic, that we have to have a plan to correct them. And I'm getting 2 sets of answers on it, and it's not clear. And whether
Well, last year we did a corrective action plan again.
for the sewer fund.
No, this was on those deficiencies,
Yeah.
as to what we could do to the best of our ability.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If the state does that too, they may come in and force more corrections than our general audit does. So I don't know if that weight of spending the extra $20,000 is, will we get the same bang for the buck or more for the buck? I don't know. I don't have an answer.
You're still gonna have deficiencies because you have me in so many positions. I'm not trying to be funny, I'm just trying to be serious. Because I do so many different positions, you are lacking your checks and balances. I'm just stating fact.
When you applied for the manager's job, correct?
Yes.
Did you look at the job description? Did you see it? Or you did not?
I did not. When you interviewed me here in front of council is when I found out that Andrew was putting the 2 positions together. When I applied only for the manager.
So if you didn't know what the job description was, you didn't know what you was getting into.
I know what the original job description was. It was changed at the last minute when I was doing the interview process in front of council.
Changed by who?
By Andrew when he incorporated the treasurer's position into it.
Well,
Because again, I applied for the
Title.
manager.
title, job description, city manager, city of Pinconning. I mean, there's 3 pages of the descriptions, what you're supposed to be able to do and accomplish. You keep saying we give you many hats. Well, we haven't give you hardly any hats compared to the job description. There's probably close to 30 here.
Gerald, can we save that for her,
Huh?
can we save that for her?
Well, no, she wants to keep bringing up too many hats, too many hats. Yeah, I'm gonna save it for the end, I'm not done with it.
Okay, then just leave it set until the end and we'll
I want to show you the job description for the manager.
Well, what I keep on point, like Sherry says too, we just gotta make the decision which way we're gonna wanna go with the audit.
Yep.
And it's, time is our enemy right now. And, like I said, I'm up in the air myself. I don't know which way to go. And I just wanted to bring these points out to you that if we're getting the same result, the same study, same audit report back that our current firm would do, does it make more sense to do this one more time with them, have them point out the deficiencies, and if we see things down the road, in the first part of next year, or go that route, that we can still enact this thing, to have them come in and do a financial review. We just gotta make a decision on this one, so, tonight, keep on track.
It sounded to me that Dave was saying pretty much state and what they do, it's gonna be the same outcome.
Sometimes the state contracts it out to, or
Yes.
them.
and the
So,
only difference is the dollar amount.
Correct.
so we need to save the 20
And
grand.
I don't know, like I said, my whole question was, are we getting more bang for the buck with them? State doing it?
Oh, the state
where
doing it?
They would have more reporting requirements for us, or identify different areas that need to be done right now.
I mean, that's something that you guys, we need to decide on, is that we're spending the 25,000 versus 5,000?
That's just
To
what I
eight.
want to point out to everybody. You know, we made that motion, we have actually two contracts on our table, one for our current one and one for the state auditor come through. I just don't know how much more bang for the buck we'll get out of the state coming through if the other thing which Dave pointed out, in order for the state to come in and do corrective action, that your fund balance has to be zero or in deficit. Well, we still have that means you're cash in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
So your cash in the bank we're still positive, but it's
Yep.
dwindling down fast. And that's where the concern comes with the deficits over the past 4 years.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I believe, Gerald, that you instated this motion to have the state come. Why? What, honestly, I mean, why can't we have our regular service do that?
She's been doing it for what, 10 years?
Well, I don't think,
13 since I've been
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I don't think,
I mean, I'm sorry, I don't,
I mean, I think he does
I
a good
just,
job.
I don't know.
Well,
Why spend that extra money?
the job they do is good. I think why I supported the motion was getting another set of eyes on what could be the reporting requirements in, if we're deficit in these areas, that the state will come through and mandate these changes versus making a recommendation. It does help having a fresh set of eyes on things too. You know, I'm full confidence with our firm we use.
Oh, absolutely.
But, you know, do we get more, more out of it, and is this an opportunity to actually set the procedures and policies right in the Treasury Department in the city, so we can move forward positively or on a plan to be in a good position for the city from this point on till eternity, hopefully. So that's the question you gotta weigh out. Sometimes you hate to use the term, you get what you pay for, but you know, I'm still confident with the firm we use that we're getting a good bang for the buck there. But for the extra price, are we getting more? And I don't have that answer.
I don't have that answer, but,
Do we have the 20,000 to find out?
yeah, that's the other thing.
Personally, I say no.
No,
If I just scrap, that's why we haven't spent, authorized any expenditures, you know, about that $1,000 until we have to move money around, such as the sewer pumps going down, which is 75 or 60, 75, somewhere in there. You know, those-
Around
those-
60 because your DDA gave us,
20, 25. But those emergency things gotta come out of our fund, which new ones are down more.